Hi guys, and welcome to Cooking the Books with Heather. Today we have decided to make a salad recipe, but before that we have to make a vinaigrette recipe. So we're gonna separate these out. The vinaigrette recipe, she has a basic red wine vinaigrette. Oh, let me show you. This is from the Poole cookbook. We've been working from this a lot. And one of her back pocket recipes is a red wine vinaigrette. So there are several variations on this. There's one with thyme in it and different vinegars, but it's all just sort of a basic vinaigrette. For another recipe we're going to be making later, I need some Vidalia onions, and I only need 3 tablespoons for this sweet onion vinaigrette. So what I'm gonna do is just slice a little bit off of these and steal a little bit from that recipe because I don't really need a whole other onion for that. So I'm gonna take probably 2 thin slices, and we have to mince these up pretty finely for the vinaigrette. So this is just our first step. I always forget that when I'm mincing, things kind of go everywhere, so really I should have gotten a larger cutting board here, but it's fine. We'll just have more cleanup. But I'm gonna go ahead and measure out the amount I need for my vinaigrette. And it looks like I will have had plenty. Yep, probably would have been fine with 1 slice, but just want to make sure I have enough. All right, so that is it for the Vidalia onions that we need for this recipe. I'm gonna gather everything else I need and make a vinaigrette. The first step after we've chopped our onions for the sweet onion vinaigrette is to combine the vinegar and the onions and let them marinate for about 15 minutes. It sort of lessens the sharpness of the onion and get some of the vinegar flavor into the onions. So I'm just going to put these into the bowl that I plan to whisk my vinaigrette in later and add, this is champagne vinegar. All right, so those are all covered, and we're gonna wait for 15 minutes. Be right back. Okay, we've been about 15 minutes marinating our sweet onions in the champagne vinegar. And one difference with this recipe versus the other vinaigrette recipes in the book is that we omit the Dijon mustard because I think it just wants to be sweet, but we add some honey. So I'm gonna whisk the honey in at this point, get that incorporated. And usually the Dijon mustard helps to emulsify the dressing, so I'll be interested to see how this works without it. And to tell the truth, I don't usually whisk my vinaigrettes. I make them in a little Dijon mustard jar that's been cleaned out, and I shake them up, and that's all I do. But we're gonna whisk because that's what the recipe says to do. So all we have to do now is to slowly drizzle this in while we whisk. She says to aim for the side of the bowl. Oh, and you'll see I have this little non-stick pad underneath my bowl so the bowl doesn't go crazy and I don't have to hold it. That was a lot of whisking. All we have to do now is salt it to taste. pretty good. All right, so that is the dressing done. We'll see if it separates before we actually need to use it, but it emulsified pretty well so far. We'll see. So this time we made a variation on the red wine vinaigrette from Ashley Christensen's Poole's Diner cookbook, the sweet onion vinaigrette. It just is the same basic recipe, but swap out a few things, add honey, take out the mustard, add Vidalia onions instead of shallots, champagne vinegar instead of red wine vinegar, but it's a basic vinaigrette. And as she says in the book, once you have the idea for a basic vinaigrette, once you realize how they're put together, you can adjust those in all sorts of ways with different vinegars and different additions, different types of onions or garlic or whatever you like. And so I've got here the leftovers. This is how I generally make a vinaigrette because I usually don't need a whole lot. In fact, there was this plus another half of one of these left after we used what we needed for the other recipe. So we'll be having sweet onion vinaigrette on salads for a while, I guess. But it was delicious, and it was great on the recipe that we made it for. So I certainly suggest learning to make a vinaigrette either that way or, you know, maybe a little bit easier on the arm, shaking it up in a jar. But it's in the jar, it's basically the same. You add the vinegar and your herbs or onions and let that sit for a while, and add some mustard and shake it up and get that emulsified before you add the oil. Same sort of thing. And I generally need smaller batches because I don't have a restaurant and I only have 4 people to feed generally. So if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. There should be a little round thing right about here coming up soon, if not already. And hit like on the video. Let me know down below in the comments if there are any cookbooks that you'd like me to visit and make some recipes from, any chefs that I should check out, or any recipes in particular you'd like me to cook from any of the books that I've already started to cook from, or new ones. And thanks for watching Cooking the Books with Heather.